Right then, guys, so I am here with Sammy from Pioneer, the main man himself. He has brought down the lovely, the very tight XDJ-RR from Pioneer. It's the brand new, what is this, Sammy? Would you call this a DJ controller?
Well, we're calling it the all-in-one system.
Right, all-in-one system, because with this unit, you don't need a laptop with it. It's got USBs, right?
Yeah, you don't have to have a laptop with it. There is an option there still to use your laptop and go for the library on your laptop. But we've got the USBs there, and for me, I'm trying to push USBs because when we go into a club, we all know what we play on.
Yep.
CDJs that have supported by USBs.
Of
so
course,
it's just encouraging people to get used to the USB system, and when they go into the club, they feel at home.
Yeah, yeah. And I always say this about, I mean, I've got the DJK-1000.
Yeah.
But I always push to people as well, like that are interested, and they say, but with the 1000, you have to use a laptop with it. But when you're mixing on it at home and stuff, and you're storing all of your hot cues on the 1000, Record Box, of course, remembers all those hot cues, and then when you export using Record Box, it exports all the hot cues that you've saved onto the USB.
Yep, that's
correct.
correct.
And then when you use your USB in the club, then they're all on there anyway. So yeah, I mean, I guess it is. Yeah, it makes sense to sort of get pushing like the USB direction. But this unit here. So sorry, Sammy, mate, we've kind of jumped straight into it.
We have, yeah.
So do you want to just pitch me the unit,
some of the key features,
yeah,
that's
on
it.
Yeah.
So as we've just mentioned, it's an all-in-one unit. As you look at it now, we've got a clear separation from your deck and your mixer side, which makes you feel like you've always got a mini CDJ and DJM setup.
Yeah.
Your two USBs, on one of them you can record, that's onto your second. So that records a WAV file straight onto the USB.
Right, so you literally just press the record button, and then it records onto the thing. That doesn't use Pioneer's REC app or anything. You don't need it.
Straight onto the USB. And if we go back here, within the USB, it will actually say Pioneer DJ recording.
Right.
And it will just store all your recordings within this part of the USB. Yeah. Which is great. And then you've also got your track marker there as well.
Yeah. That is a really clever thing, that master record. That's such a good touch. Because, I mean, with this, would you say that this is this an entry level?
I wouldn't say entry. I say we're looking at your DDJ-400 for your entry level. I'd say this is still in the same category, but just above that. So if you've had the 400 and you're looking to upgrade, but you can't afford a set of full CDJs of a mixer, for me, this is your answer, because you get it all in one, it's at a reasonable price, and this screen here is the same screen that you're going to find on your CDJs. Yeah. It's almost like just squeezed into one. Yeah. So it shows both tracks, both waveforms.
So like the RX2.
Yeah, very similar to the RX2. Yeah. Very similar. And again, we have your search functionality on here, so you can search for your tunes. Yeah. You can switch between USB 1 and USB 2. And also, you remember, you've got your tag lists up here and information. So you're basically looking at a CDJ screen here with your load 1 and load 2 for your deck sides.
So yeah, so literally, like, I mean, we spoke before when we had our conversation about the 400 now, that you guys at Pioneer are like, all of your new stuff that you're bringing out now is kind of mimicking the same layout as the club standard Nexus series and stuff, right? So with this, it's the same thing. Like, you know, with the 400, it was like the mixer, the effects were in the same place and stuff, which is very similar to
you're on the left hand side, your headphones and your cue to master. Yeah. And for me, the most important, on the right, you've got your beat effects here.
Yeah. So that's where you would find them. I mean, with this, it's like a switch, because there's three effects on this RR, which is echo, reverb, and flanger, right?
And then we have your parameter control here to widen or shorten your parameters. You've got a switchboard for deck 1, deck 2, your master, and then your level depth here, and then your on and off trigger.
Yeah, which is exactly in the exact same place as it would be on a DJM.
Yeah, that's even going down to your master levels, and where your master volume is. That is still in the same place you're going to find it on your DJM mixer. Which for someone that is practicing in their bedroom, we all know the worst thing is using something at home, going to play your first gig, and then being like, I don't know, nothing resembles what I have at home. So with the Pioneer equipment, where we're going with this type of this fashion we're going with, it is to replicate what we have in the clubs, so people feel more at home,
feel comfortable when they do finally get that gig in the club, and then and then they go.
Because the last thing we want to do is people to actually get the gigs to go out and play and then not feel as confident as they do at home. For sure. So I feel like with us repeating this within our different ranges and keeping it in the same place, it's a really cool feature that we're doing, and I think for the future it's going to benefit us massively.
Oh, mate, for sure. I mean, people get used to one thing, and obviously Pioneer are the club standard, so you can say, well, actually I can't really go into what I was going to say then, so I won't. But yeah, no, it makes complete sense, mate. To sort of mimic your layout of your biggest and your best in all of your smaller stuff, so that people get used to it, because it is a natural progression. And
we've just touched on, we're talking about the mixer side here. Obviously, we just touched on the beat effects here. Let's not forget also we have 4 sound color effects. There's noise, dub echo, pitch, and filter. Which I'm guessing you use them in your sets.
So I am forever using the filter. For everything,
transitions, it smooths them out.
I always double it up with an echo, so that's a real nice touch that there is.
Build
an
for
echo
drops, it can make something more epic.
And then like the other bit. So what's that echo there? Oh,
the dub echo.
That's the dub echo, right? Okay, So
dub echo there, and then just to mention also, we have your sound color effects there, and just above that, if people are wondering what this bit is here, this is your aux input. So you've got line and portable. A lot of people asking what line and portable are. So basically, if you are connecting an external CDJ through the aux, I would put it on line, and then portable is for something like your mobile phone.
Okay. All right.
So it's just the 2 different ones, and then you've got trim here to adjust your volume.
That's to adjust the volume of your aux. Just for the aux. But
so the mixer section is really nice. Really compact with a lot of different things in there.
I mean, it looks, like without repeating ourselves, it does look like, I guess it kind of looks like a 250. Yeah.
You've nailed it.
It's the same kind of layout as a 250, but then actually, the 250 doesn't have any effects on it, does it?
No, but like you said, like the kind of the feel and the size of it is like the 250. Just to mention before I forget, you won't see this on the top camera, but on the front of the unit here, we have our crossfader curve. And your 3 different options there.
So you can have the crossfader completely off, or you can have it sort of blending, or you can have it cutty if you're going to scratch and get your crab on. So that's a nice touch, man. I mean, it's got kind of everything that you want on there for a sort of start. I mean, I would say that this is probably not. I mean, I think it is for beginners.
100%.
But it's for beginners who are spoiling themselves with the screen.
I would say spoiling yourself with the screen, but the way I'm looking at it is like, you've got like a beginner. Like I was a beginner and I started off on a laptop. And where I moved up was breaking the barrier of taking away my laptop and just using a USB and not visually having the waveforms to look at. The reason why this is great is because you do still get the waveforms, but this is not like we're testing you because when you go out they're not going to be there. These waveforms and the display you're seeing here is the same you're going to find on one CDJ. So even though it's taking it away from the laptop feel, you still got that feel of having a laptop there, but it's not, because it's our Pioneer screen.
It's kind of like a happy medium between sort of looking at Record Box DJ and just using like the 2 CDJs on their own, because even though like one of these screens would be per CDJ obviously, but then on this screen here you've got both of your waveforms on top of each other, which is a visual thing which you can do in Pioneer DJ. So I guess it's kind of like looking at a smaller version of Pioneer DJ.
A smaller version of Pioneer DJ. And if you do struggle with things like beat matching and you're still learning these techniques, this screen can really help you with that. Like you said, you've got the waveforms on top of each other. And in export mode, if you grid your tracks correctly, then it is easy to beat match if you'd like to use the screen.
Yeah, because of course, as well, I mean, let's not get into the big debate. Do you know, every single time that I get a guest in to talk about on one of my podcasts, I always say, let's not get into the big debate about it. But one day I'm going to have to do it. But like you were saying, if you are struggling to mix, this has a sync button.
That's sync option, yeah.
Sync and master, and then I guess to double click sync.
It will double up. Yeah,
or is that shift and sync?
Yeah, and it will double up onto
instant doubles.
Yeah, onto your next deck.
So the same track on both sides.
Yeah, but like you said with the sync, it depends, because I class myself in the new school DJs, and I'm not bothered about talking about sync, because there are a lot of people out there that will use sync sometimes and they don't like to admit it. But at the end of the day, it's not about, for me, the sync option. Is if you are using the sync, how creative can you be with the sync?
Yeah, for
how
sure.
creative can you be with your beat loops and your hot cues and things like that?
Yeah, if you're going to be doing real crazy stuff, I mean, mate, I use a sync button when I'm doing, when I'm doing sort of 4 decks live.
Mate, when you've got 4 decks and you've got a loop going on one, you're bringing in another.
Acapellas and beat loops and stuff like that. Yeah, man, it's just...
Sometimes it is hard to get it always bang on time, but don't get me wrong, like, even though you press sync and if your beat grids are just out, it will still be out, so there's still some adjustment to do. It's just if you've queued it in way out, it allows you to bring it back in time. And maybe you fiddle around with it a little bit to get it bang on. But I feel like it's there just to assist you if you are mixing at a high volume, mixing with 4 decks, or using your performance controls. It just helps along with that.
Yeah. All right, mate. So you just mentioned then about the performance controls. Talk me through them. So there's four little. I mean, they're more kind of buttons.
They are buttons. That's why like, normally, like on our controllers, we have pads.
Yeah.
Called performance pads. These are for performance controls.
Because they're buttons rather than pads. So take me through what they are, mate.
So we've got hot cue, we've got beat loop, slip loop, beat jump. And our secondary options is almost like an extension of the first option. So, for example, you've got hot cue, you've got 4 banks. If you go onto your secondary option of hot cues, you've got another 4 banks.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
And with beat loop, you've got your loops on your first controls. And then if you go over to your second controls, it will change your parameters, so you can go wider, you can go shorter, and that resembles across all of them.
And that goes with the slip loop and the beat jump as well,
And beat loop is basically just going straight into a loop. Slip loop, we had a little discussion about slip earlier.
It's really hard to explain.
You kind of want to you want to do something here, and then you use your hand to explain.
So I mean, so the slip loop is, it puts a loop in place, and that loop will stay in that section of the tune. But at the same time, the tune is still going in the background.
Carrying on going.
And then when you take the slip loop out, the tune will go to where it would have been
if you wasn't doing any loops or anything like that.
Yeah, whereas the beat loop actually stops the tune.
We'll stop the tune and just loop that section.
Yeah.
So you've got the slip loop, which is looping a section, but allowing the track to continue playing underneath it. And it's great because actually, when you use beat loop on the screen, it has a second indication of where the track is going, even though you've got your loop going. So when you do exit it, you can see whereabouts you're going to exit the loop. But normally what I do is try and keep in time. So if I am doing any loops with slip loop on, I just kind of hear where I am in the track, and when I exit it, try and exit on the right place.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, again, for people that maybe are first starting off and they haven't quite got, they can't count in the bars and stuff, you can see that on the screen, and that is the beauty of having the 7-inch screen on this unit.
100%.
Yeah.
And the last feature is beat jump, which allows you to either jump forward 1 beat, jump back 1 beat, or jump back forward 2, so on and so forth, as wide as the parameters allow you on here. But that's pretty cool for just mixing up your track and like just doing something different on the fly. Yeah.
So for example, if you've got a track which has got a really long breakdown, you could maybe jump through it.
Yeah. Sometimes I would miss out a whole 8 beat or a whole 8 bar or whatever, and I will use one of the performance controls, and it will do everything in beat. It won't be like a sudden switch.
No,
and
it waits
noticeable
until the right point to jump.
And then when you press it, and it will just jump it, and it will keep everything in beat.
And then I guess that depends on on your quantize and stuff on where
here we've got quantize.
Yeah.
I would advise anyone that uses Pioneer equipment that has a quantize button, keep the quantize on. It doesn't mean you're cheating. It just means when you are being creative, it allows everything to snap to the beat.
Yeah, that's it. It's and it goes back to what we were saying about the sync. You know, when you are being really creative and stuff and going a bit out there with your mixing and trying new things like the beat jump, say, it's gonna sound pony if it's not on quantize.
100%. And we've all been there when we're using hot cues and we're like, I feel like I'm just hitting them out.
Yeah.
And then you look and your quantize isn't on, and then when you put your quantize on, you may like just hit it like a fraction out, and that's noticeable without the quantize. The quantize on will always just snap it to the closest beat. Yeah.
And I'm guessing like with the quantize and stuff, because within Rekordbox you can set the amount of your quantize, you know, so the smaller it is, obviously, whatever. So I guess you can do all that probably within. Yeah,
you go into like you've got all your utility settings and all your different things on here.
Yeah, there you go. So the quantize beat up there, so that's on one beat at the moment.
Yeah, and just to mention also, this setting here, the utility setting, is actually so key for me because everything you can see down here, I've set at home on my laptop, and what I do when I go to a club, I hold this button down and I press load, and whatever settings that I've got on here, it will then load them onto the deck in the club. So it makes you feel like you've got all your same settings. The worst thing is when you go up to a club and you're changing all the buttons around to make sure it's the same as you have at home.
Yeah.
With this is another reason why the USB function is so key, because you can preset all your settings, go to the club, load them up, and you're in.
Do you know what, mate? I didn't know you could do that.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't.
Well, there we go, guys. We've learned something today.
I've never done that. But then I think with me, I've just kind of become accustomed to whatever settings the mixer is.
Yeah, no. See, it isn't it won't be the mixer. It is only the deck. So for example, so if I don't have master tempo on, the previous DJ may have had master tempo on. When I get there, I'm ready to start my set. I'm buzzing, raring to go. I'm gonna forget to turn my master tempo off.
Yeah.
So I press load, and it will automatically take that off for me.
Yeah.
If for some reason I don't do this, I don't have sync on. But if I wanted sync on all the time, I could do that in the settings, and when you press load, it will just make sure sync is on.
Recognize it.
The thing that I use, so a lot of people I use vinyl mode. A lot of people use CD.
Mate, I just don't get it when people use CD mode. It just doesn't make any sense.
How are you supposed to wheel back?
Mate,
how are you supposed to just do a quick?
I don't know, mate. I don't understand.
Well, if anyone does use CDJ mode,
that's fine.
No, it's fine. Just let us know, like when you want to do a wheel back, let us know what you do, because we're both questioning it and working out how we do it.
I think maybe it kind of CD mode is more suited to certain types of music. You mix drum and bass. Yeah, and you know you're always
fast tempo.
You always got to pull up my selector.
So
yeah, you know you've always got to like rewind that back. I mean, I mix a lot, like everything. I mix a lot of hip hop and stuff, and I actually don't use Q or play. Well, I use Q. Sorry, I don't use the play button. I hit play, and then I mix tracks in like that.
So you're old school.
I am old school. I started on vinyl. That's how I've done it. So
we have a clear example here, guys, of an old school and a new school. Because
there you go.
I don't really use hot cues. I was explaining earlier. I still use the cue points, and the reason why I like this is because I set about 4 or 5 cue points at the beginning of my track, and then I use my cue call to go through, and then I'll cue it in my headphones and then play it. Use the play button. I suppose it's just how you brought up DJing and what you're used to.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's. So I think like going back to like the CD mode, because I don't want people to think that we've just completely parred off people that use the CD mode.
It's not at all.
I think if you're playing like house music or techno or something which doesn't necessarily need scratching in it, or you know bits and bobs like that, you know, kind of 4/4, like you know.
Yeah,
that kind of beat. Think CD, you can get away with it then. But I mean, I couldn't imagine mixing hip hop on CD mode. It would be the hardest thing.
It would be hard, yeah. But last thing to mention about, because like Ratzi said, we don't want to feel like it's wrong used in CD mode because there's nothing wrong with it. I'll tell you why it's a good thing.
It's just preference, man. It's just personal preference.
Well, sometimes I have vinyl mode on, and sometimes when I'm DJing, all it takes is for me, my elbow to hit the top of the jog wheel, and that goes in like a scratch and will completely move it. Whereas if you've got it on CDJ mode, it will be different. It won't go into a scratch. It won't stop the track. It's just like you're getting it in time. Yeah. So realistically, there are the benefits to it, and then you've got your other side.
Of course, it's just all personal preference. So just quickly on the jogs, man. These jog wheels here. I mean, they so like just going back to the XDJ-RR. They feel like they're a good kind of consistency on the actual jog. Like they're not too loose, they're not too hard.
No.
Like and then they've got the nice grooves in the side, which you've got on the CDJs.
The CDJ. Or I call them the CDJ grooves. Yeah. A lot of products where you've got like a kind of smaller version of a product, it has a different style of groove on the side. If you've noticed on our DJJ-400. It's an entry-level controller, but we've still got these same grooves.
Yeah, I remember.
We're talking about, going back to our previous conversation about how we've kept things similar for our CDJ and Nexus Club range. Yeah. This is the same with the jog wheel. Yeah,
literally to the point of that is when you're jogging your tunes, you know, you put your finger in the groove and it's exactly the same on a CDJ.
And also just to mention about the jog wheels, they are really responsive with the screen. The last thing you want is to be able to do a little scratch and then it happens 2 seconds later on your screen.
Like the latency.
It's nice that they are really responsive with the screen itself.
I mean, everything as well, like even with like the hot cues and stuff, that's really responsive, right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. And for someone who does like to do their beat juggling with their hot cues and different things, it's great that they are really responsive.
Yeah. It's really good, man. It's really nice. But I mean, so I think like obviously the key features of this thing. Oh, mate, just to say as well, actually, what is really nice is that the microphone has got a 2-band EQ on it, which is wicked because
mate, it's great because it means that you can. So if I was a DJ that goes out, and sometimes I do, like you go out and do parties, weddings, especially for the wedding vibe, because there's always someone who wants to make an announcement on the mic, wants to do something,
or shout down the microphone, or
sing,
mic, mate. Like I had the other day. I won't go into that because it will start on an epic rant.
But like we're saying, it is great to still have that option there, and you've also got on, which means you can just talk over anything and it doesn't duck anything. Yeah. And we've got talk over, which will duck the microphone to the music
whenever you're talking. Which is really clever, yeah. So with this unit as well, you mentioned earlier, when it's in MIDI mode, so when you are using it with a laptop with record box, you can go up to 4 decks on it, right?
Yeah, so up here we have deck 1, deck 2, and you can...
It's not going to work because it's not in MIDI, right?
But you should be able to switch over...
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Is it switched
over?
Yeah,
it's switching. Yeah, it's going from left to right, yeah.
Yeah, so you can switch over. But but the main thing is that you can connect this up to your laptop and you can run off your same library, because some people have their settings on the laptop, they have their library banked in there with all their cue points, hot cues. And it just means that if they don't feel comfortable with a USB, they can still go over to the laptop.
I mean, that's the same thing as I had the RX2 in December. It was actually the first month of my podcast. It was the first bit of kit that I had to review. And I was using it with both USB and record box. And so, you know, it's a tough... I mean, would you say, mate, I know that there's certain things which you're maybe not allowed to compare directly, but would you say that this is more like the RX2 or more like the DJJ-400? Because... it looks like a 400 down here, but then it's got the screen like the RX2.
Now what you've said there, I would say it's like a middle ground between them both. Yeah. Because we've taken almost like the layout of the 400 and then the top bit of the RX2 and I'm going to put them together. and you look at where they both are on the market,
Yeah.
and then it kind of hits the middle ground.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that's where this controller is. Like, you can use it if you're a bedroom DJ, it's great for that. But if you're also someone that has to travel around with a lot of equipment, this is great because it's light and portable. You've got your little handles on the side there.
Yeah.
Which means it's mobile. You can take it around. So I feel like this hits a lot of different markets.
So would you say, I mean, if you say had a 400 and you wanted to step up, would you step up to this or from a 400? Because for me, if I had a 400, I would want to go something, you know, sort of like a bit more complicated. Whereas this is still a beginner's setup down here, but it's got the screen. Whereas like, say, you know, to go back to like your old range, which actually is really confusing because
was this before I started with Pioneer?
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be. But so this is called the XDJ-RR.
Yeah.
But then there's a DJKit.
Yeah.
Right, which is like the next one up from the DDJ. What was the 400? What did the 400 replace?
The
RB.
RB.
Yeah. So back at the old range, because we can't say this about the new range yet, because you know we've got the 400 now. I'm guessing that there's going to be a 600 come out.
I don't know where you're going with this, Ratzi. I don't know where this conversation is going,
anyway.
but I'm just going to put it very straight. So this, guys, is the XDJ-RR. We've got an all-in-one unit, 2 USBs. It's a great unit.
What I was
going
going to say is like, so you went from the RB to the RR. That was the next controller. That was the step up from the RB. So we got the 400. So is this the step up from the 400, or is this like the RX2's younger brother or sister? Gender neutral.
So yeah, it's almost like the younger brother, where the 400 is a cousin.
Right. Okay.
If we're going to put it like that.
It's just a big
It's a Pioneer family. And I'll tell you what, like, and it might be hard to see this from where you guys are sitting at home, but seriously, if you come into DJKit, ask these guys about it. They've got all the information, and we'll be able to show you what it looks and feels like.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can kind of gain your own kind of opinion from that, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the line.
I've got a quick question for you, though.
Go on.
So would you use this at home? So before you started with, obviously you was vinyl.
Yeah.
So let's go a bit forward. So if you were buying CDJs, but you didn't quite have enough money.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got our XDJ range of our 700 and 1000 Mark IIs, and you still can't afford them. Would you go for something like this?
I mean, so when I stopped playing vinyl, I bought a pair of Pioneer 1000 Mark IIIs.
Classics.
CDJs, right? Brilliant. Bulletproof as well. Some clubs still got them, mate.
He's tried it, by the way.
So, but I already had a mixer, obviously. So I bought a pair of the CDJs into the mixer. Now, when it came time to me getting a new setup again now, I didn't go for CDJs. I went for the DDJ 1000 controller. Right. So in answer to your question, like in terms of would I go for this if I was I mean, I went for the 1000 because I mean that's the best controller I've ever used, and I didn't want to give it back after I'd reviewed it for the month, so I bought one for myself. But for where I am, you know, I've been DJing for 12 years. I'm used to a club setup, and that's the closest thing that you can get to a club setup. But for someone who's a beginner I mean this I would absolutely go for this if I was just starting off. Like I say, you know, the great thing about this is you can use it with your laptop, but I think, mate, the biggest selling point about this is obviously the screen, but it's the USBs.
2 USBs, man.
Because with all of your beginner controllers, the Pioneer beginner controllers, the SB3, obviously you need Serato with it.
Yeah.
The 400, you need to use Rekordbox with it, a laptop. But with this is like beginner without a laptop. You can use a USB. You can use a laptop if you want. And I think that's so important. I think that's absolutely wicked. So, yeah, in answer to, after a long ramble, in answer to your question, if I was a beginner, I would have this.
100%. And I just want to kind of reflect on what you're saying, because I do feel the same. So I started off on laptops. I was using virtual DJing when I first started. And then we got a big gig in a club, and I was like to the guy, I'm part of a drum and bass duo. And I was like, what are we going to do?
Doing bits, by the way, guys, doing bits. Andy C's dropping their bits at Boomtown and Creamfields, and
it's been a mad summer, to say the least. But to go back to what I'm talking about with this unit here, I was for us, it was a massive step walking into the club and using CDJs. And if I'm honest with you, we didn't look as good playing live back then, may I add, as what I was at home. At home, we was doing all this mad stuff, all this crazy stuff with the setup we had. Walked into a club, and we didn't know what we was doing. We didn't know where to call our cues up from. We didn't know. There was a lot of things, and all I'm thinking is if I had something like this that I could go to, and I could see what the screens look like on the CDJs, and that's the biggest part for me. Like, I can see everything on here that I would go into in a club and see it on a CDJ. Yeah. And that for me is the difference between like buying this is like something, if you want to move up to the next step, the difference of buying like a controller with a laptop. Yeah. This really takes you into the zone of being able to play out live on the setup that you're going to get in a club.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it you know, without repeating ourselves, it mimics the club setup. And if you would have had this, you know, when you first started out, you wouldn't have been nervous about going in and playing that set.
Not at all. It took us a good couple of gigs playing live to actually start to feel comfortable. And I feel if we had this, the transition would have been a lot more smoother, a lot more comfortable, and we were more confident when we were playing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, mate. I mean, I can't wait to get stuck into it. I
look forward to the little mix you're going to create on it.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm going to have it for the whole month. So. Yeah, hopefully I'll enjoy it. I mean, I always enjoy Pioneer stuff anyway because I already know my way around it. You know, I just sort of Pioneer works for me. Now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Like complete second nature. I don't, you know. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to using it. What I'll do, Sammy, as well, mate. You know, if I've got any questions, I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, and the same with the guys out there. If anyone has any questions, get in touch, and we'll both do our best to answer them.
Yeah, that's it. Right, Sammy, mate. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you for having me down again.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
And yeah, I'll catch you next time.